Imagine a league built by the people, for the people. A league dedicated to the economic development of your city. So the question becomes, how good are the 32 teams that play in the minor football league? Well, there's only one way to find out. You have to experience the MFL.
Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Dr. Richard Myles Sr., CEO, Chairman, and Founder of the Minor Football League. Today is Friday. I wish everybody a happy Friday. I'm joined today, Keith, I see you there, Keith Jones, local reporter from Washington, D.C. Hey, Keith, how you doing today?
Good, Doc. How you doing? Good to see you. Always a pleasure, Miles.
It's always a pleasure. As you know, we're just going to take a hot second on the fact that what's going on in the city. I mean, it seemed like we under martial law. I don't want to say that because I don't want them to really do that, but we have got some information talking about it might do that because of the inauguration. What is your take on that, Keith?
Well, word is that current President Trump will fly away on Wednesday, and then new President Joe Biden will be sworn in. So hopefully it's going to be seamless. Obviously, you had National Guardsmen at the Capitol, actually inside the Capitol, actually sleeping on the floor inside the Capitol. So it's been quite a week, and certainly there's a lot of anticipation, a lot of edginess. There's a lot of things going on in our nation's capital, but we're fortunate we get to talk about football, including a franchise that's in the nation's capital. So that part is good. You can put the goings on in a positive or negative way out in the other part of the real world aside, and then talk opportunities and talk things that the MFL provides specifically for the citizens.
Absolutely. And also we want to remind everybody that NFL is the laboratory of change. We want to bring former players from the field to the front office. So, Keith, so tell me, okay, that the fact that we are getting ready, things seem to be doing a lot better. My GMs, they get excited. Also, I want to bring on the newest GM for the Washington Chiefs franchise, someone like family, really. William Redman, native Washingtonian, went to Roosevelt High School. We just have a lot of problems with Roosevelt when I was in school. Arizona State, Arizona's graduate. We get to fussing about that. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. And you?
All right. I mean, we was talking a little earlier this week about those games between Arizona and Arizona State. Really can't. It just if you don't beat nobody, you want to beat Arizona. That was always the mindset. I never knew about the ride when I first got there, but once you're there, you'll understand the significance of it. And I know, Mr. Redman, he's sitting there shaking his head. He said, I got hurt in one of them games, man. I just hit them. Tell everybody, tell the MFL Nation a little bit about yourself. Not that a lot of people don't know who you is, All-American here. I had the opportunity to play in the league, got hurt. But tell everybody, MFL Nation, a little bit about yourself, sir, before Keith starts asking you a lot of questions.
Okay, I like questions, Keith. I really do. I love football, and I love life, and I love people. But I'm out of, Washington, D.C., like you said. Did pretty good. I didn't realize I was that good till Arizona came to get me. All-American, Kodak, everyone that was there, Touchdown Club, Pigskin Club. So I guess I was pretty good. Got up there, did and we punished Arizona State 2 times.
See what I'm saying, Keith? That's
they really was beneath us. We had good rivalry there, big fun, but good rivalry. That's pretty much. I went to Cleveland, tried to get on Cleveland team, got cut the last day because I blew my knees out. That's when Charles White was coming back off his little problems that he had. And I just came back home, started coaching Little League for 15, 16 years, went into high school, 2 different teams, and went back to my alma mater where my team, class of 80, still holds the city championship. Nobody touched that yet. So, talked to Doc. Doc said, man, come on and coach for me. Now, mind you, he asked me it's been 20 years now to coach for him, but I just said I wasn't ready. Had a lot of grandkids, and they was into everything, and I put my time in them. So now it's my time. I'm retired, and I love life, love football, and I'm just ready to let the MFL know that we're back. The Chiefs are back.
This is a good year for that, I have to say. This past season, obviously, Arizona State cost Arizona a head coach. Throttling guy. And I have some other friends that went to ASU or AU, and they're bitter or extremely happy, depending on who you talk to. But
yeah, I learned a little shot. In my days, we used to look forward to punishing them, but right now we're gonna talk about MFL because we talk enough about days. But he made a statement early, which was really terrible. Everybody, he was on every All-American list. The guy was just a tremendous athlete to come out of Washington, as with a lot of athletes come out. And he was something special, and everybody knew it. He had respect of everyone here. And it was just a no-brainer because for years when he came back home, I told him, I said, come on, let me give you the helm of the Washington Chiefs in terms of a head coach. But right now, we see bigger things from him now because he has grown so tremendously, Keith. So it's time for him to take over the helm because, like I say, the MFL is the laboratory of change. And we want to bring former players from the field to the front office. Now, he had his time in the sun, collegiate and on the professional, right? And college. And like I said, there's no place like home. I was telling, we always comment about that, Keith. But tell us, Mr. Redman, some of the things that you are ready to do before Keith starts asking questions about it. Tell us some of the things in the direction you want to take the Washington Chiefs franchise.
I really want to keep going the way it's going. I like the plan. I like the vision. And that's what turned me on the most, the vision to help these guys change their life. If they can't make it in football, we got to help them make it in life. So that's very important. That's dear to me. So once I saw that, on the paper, I said, okay, I can do something with this. This is what I've been doing, teaching these young men how to be men and, be good, productive citizens in the world. So it's right up my alley, and I'm going to take it and run with it.
Well, it's perfect for you because you've played successfully as well at all levels. And that's what's missing in today's dynamic, especially in the sport of football, because these guys come out and the DC area, or as they call it now, the DMV, which drives me crazy, but the DMV is loaded with a lot of talent. These guys are great at school. Loxley's done Mike Loxley, who was Alabama, has come back to Maryland. He's done some good stuff, keeping Jared and some guys home. But the power of the state of Maryland football-wise has really been downplayed and underappreciated over the years. The district has put out some phenomenal players and teams, and what goes on with the Beach Boys in different places like Friendship is really admirable, and I enjoy being around it and seeing it happen. So you went to a really big college and were successful there. You got into the pros and you were successful there. A lot of these guys that follow the successful guys, the guys that are fortunate enough to make those steps, and they're large steps, and fortunate enough to play at the highest level, sometimes don't have the guidance they need. A lot of times don't have the guidance they need, either because of upbringing or because they get too much too soon, too young, and it's gone in a flash. And we saw that with the Washington NFL franchise and with their quarterback. Came in, made a lot of money, and now is out of a job. It's just that fleeting and that quickly if you don't have a true scope, a true grasp on what's going on. And that's one of the things obviously you're going to bring to the MFL, because the guys that come up, and not all high school players get to play college ball. And
right.
College players get to play pro ball at any level. And so, yeah, I've seen some really good talent end up in Canada.
Yes.
Because they go where they want to play, or they have to go where there's football being played. So what Myles has done over the years is he's grown not only a developmental system for the player and the person, but now fast forward a couple decades plus, and there's really something in front of us right now. And this 2021 is going to be a breakout year for the MFL and going forward, because of not only his leadership, but guys like you seeing the vision, or say, hey, this is an opportunity. I didn't get a chance to do this someplace else, or I wasn't given the opportunity to coach at this level, or what have you. So that's one of the things that the MFL brings, and that's why obviously Myles is super excited to have you on board finally. And yes, he's like that. He's been like that with me too. He's he's not gnat flying around and you're swatting it away. You can't really get to it, and it keeps circling back and stuff. But he eventually gets you. He gets what he wants, and that's why the MFL is still around. So obviously he sees a quality person and a leader in you, and certainly is very happy to welcome you aboard into the league.
And I'm excited to be here. I'm really excited. And I'm working on getting a great staff, because that's important too. And like minds think alike, I want to keep it going. I want guys to come that want to be here to really help, just help bring these guys to a different level. Because, as you know, it's only 1% that make it. So you got to do something else. And when they get finished, they come here and take my spot.
Well, and that's exactly right. That 1% gets lost. Is like,
yes,
only be 1%. I see my friend, or I see somebody else I know that made it to this next level, and it's, and that's why when teachers or parents or even players come to me and say, should I go play at Alabama or should I go play at Liberty? And I say, well, where are you gonna get the most rep? Where are you going to be seen the most? Are you going to sit on the bench, third string, for the Crimson Tide, or are you going to play and be a starter for a team like Liberty, which obviously you see what's happened this past season with them? You never know when a Coastal Carolina will sneak up on you, because I've seen different players. I covered the NFL for a lot of years, and I've seen players come from schools that you almost never heard of. So it's like, and some all pros coming out of schools that were smaller or Division IIIs. You don't know where the talent's coming from, but without that opportunity, without getting those reps, they never would have made it to the big time.
That is so true, because coaching, literally, that was one of my sayings. I'm like, it doesn't matter where you play or how you play, as long as you play well, they will see you. I don't care what school you go to, they will see you.
Especially now.
Oh, yes.
When we were coming up, truly tape, and you had to bicycle it around or whatever you had to do, and the media was no different for shows. And when you now see the social media, or you see the highlights, whether it's on ESPN or whatever it's on, if a play's being made or somebody's doing something spectacular, it'll make it.
Oh, yes.
It'll be seen.
Absolutely. Someone will have a video camera. Say these phones, technology is great, but it's going to be at the same time, especially if you do something you ain't got no business doing. But it's very important that we understand that the laboratory of change is here. And I always, thought about it. I see a lot of guys used to come home and they didn't make the next level, and they feel like they were failures. But I want them to understand that's not true. And I tell them all the time, it's not that you're not good enough to play in the NFL. There's not enough room. And it took a while for people to understand that and grasp that. No, it had nothing to do with you. But you had a place, your home, where you're still relevant. Everybody knew you're a big star here. Most of the people did not get an opportunity to see you when you went away to play, whether you were starting or on the bench. They did not get a chance, opportunity to see you. Now you're at home where everybody can see you. More importantly, they understand the fact that you are a part of an organization that's giving back. You know, the MFL is the laboratory of change, you know, economic development. You know, these are the type of things that the MFL is doing. And as you know, Keith, we're talking about intern. We're giving people an opportunity to do this because we have somebody like Keith you got these people with all these degrees, and they're just paper now. You know, I just talked to someone earlier today. She have a graduate degree and everything, but yet still she can't get a job. So these are the type of things that you have to be very mindful of, and you have to not just look at this. Do not let this escape. This is something that never happened again. So you get that opportunity to take advantage of it. Take advantage of that opportunity, you know, in terms of having the opportunity to play. You play, we're going to see it. Just like the HBCU. Now, they getting a little bit play, and I say a little bit because it will never be the magnitude of Alabama or Michigan or Ohio State. But Deion went down to Jackson State. Now people just like, okay, wait a minute. Maybe we need to go there. We're going to play there. He had connections. He played in the league and stuff. So this is something that I've been saying for a long time, you know, with this. And Mr. Redman tested out, tell people, this is not semi-pro. This is minor professional football, something that every other sport has. Baseball, everybody have a minor league system, but the NFL. So we feel that void now. And now people begin to understand it. And I tell people all the time, HBCU, we see you, we hear you, we want you. Now it's up to you to stop feeling sorry for yourself and say, hey, I'm mad. Come out here and play 5 years until you get out your system. And not only that, if the NFL or the Canadian Football League see you, they'll be at our game. There'll be no question about it. But you can't say you did not get the opportunity to be seen. And as y'all know, most people just want to be seen. If they could just see what I can do.
And need to be seen. That's the whole thing. And that's been historically one of the, no pun intended, one of the problems of the HBCUs, because guys like Jerry Rice were never seen. Now, fast forward decades later, and yes, the coverage is a little bit better, but it's still difficult. You see very few of those games on an entity like ESPN, and I hold those entities accountable. I mean, there's no reason that if you're looking for quality of play or you're looking for good football, you can find it at any level, at every level. Yeah. And again, and I go back to Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is in Myrtle Beach. I mean, I know it mostly because my nephew went there for a semester, and I said to my brother, you know, you're sending your son to spring break, right? So we kind of laughed about that. But I mean, who would have thought? Football program, football power, top 25 team, what? Coastal who? You know, and we saw that with Florida Gulf Coast in basketball a number of years ago. So you don't know, because these guys, you know, and it's not about just the individual. A lot of times we see that, and that's what football becomes a lot of times. And you look at Smith out of Alabama and some key players like that are just that much better than everybody else. But some of these teams win because they play as a team, and that's what it's about. Exactly. There are a couple of great coaches that say, you know, do your job, and if you do, everybody wins, and that's what happens. That's how programs get successful. So I think that it's a matter of, and the MFL is no different. It's a matter of exposure. It's almost what I would call like an awakening, because Myles has been doing this for more than a couple decades and it's still around. The XFL is gone. The AAF is gone. The minor league football system is gone. I mean, it's just I talk about it all the time because I've been involved with different football entity leagues, and I have the footballs to as proof that they existed, but that's as far as it goes. Nothing else still exists on that, because the MFL is not about just playing the game. And then to Miles' point he was just making about the interns, interns get an opportunity to gain experience. Thus, through the experience, they can go on and hopefully get jobs. I'm all about that. I mean, I had a couple of pretty good interns or internships, and one was much better than the other one. But it's getting that opportunity, and it doesn't matter if you're in school. You'll work as an intern and in an unpaid position and do different things, because you want that opportunity. You want that experience, and that's when you're putting together a coaching staff, Mr. Redman. I mean, this is what you're dealing with. There's some fantastic coaches in the Washington D.C. metropolitan area. It's just they exist, and and they might want to take that next step. I know some very successful high school coaches. You talk about the school that you went to, and the and the success of Roosevelt and different schools like that. A lot of successful programs at the high school level, some at the college level, and then obviously when you get into the pros, well, again, the funnel keeps getting narrower and narrower as you higher and higher you go. So the opportunities aren't there. I mean, it's been a fantastic week with coaches and general managers, just because the NFL is scrambling to find the right person for their organization. Robert Salah got signed by Woody Johnson and the Jets. I think that's a fantastic signing. I'm still scratching my head about the Urban Meyer hiring down in Jacksonville. Apparently his health is better, and miraculously, and he felt that now's the time for him to step up to the next level. But we, just like players, we've seen coaches that just are not ready or cannot handle it, or whatever the case may be, including a guy named Nick Saban. So it's about the opportunity.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And you have to understand that you made a great point. And some of these high school coaches, there's a glass ceiling there, and some of them comfortable. They feel like, where else can I get an opportunity to coach? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it fills that void they have. These guys not getting paid, the coaching staff and stuff, but it gives them some relevancy in terms of trying to get a coaching job. Well, that's all gone now, because now this is a level what we used to always say where the big boys are. You know what I mean? Now you're not just coaching high school and you may play a power high school team here because they put you on the record because that's an easy win. The MFL, you're playing against the best in different parts of the country. You going to different parts of the country. It's just like our counterparts in that other league. You get an opportunity to be seen. You get an opportunity, and don't think that they're not going to have the best that they can sign. And that's what it's all about, people knocking the door down. They want to know why they can't purchase tickets now. And we say, not yet. Like I said, we got all these guys registered. They want to know, when is the combine, Dr. Myles? I said, not yet. They're not thinking about COVID-19. They're not thinking about that. They see an opportunity, and they done looked at this thing. They said, wait a minute. Man, this give us an opportunity to be seen and people to see us. And like we stated earlier, because of this social media, man, if you got one of these and you at the game, they got it on video, and they're going to throw it up on YouTube themselves. So it goes to show you that the time is right, and this will never happen again. And not only that, we want them to understand, generational wealth now. This is something that you can pass down. We want to be, and we will be, like the other league, because these franchises are going to be sold. Now you're talking about these young guys getting paid, but not that crazy amount over there. We're going to make sure that you're getting paid what you're really worth, and not just because you did this somewhere else. And a lot of them finding out more and more, college is, college. That's a different entity, especially when you got better players than everybody. Going back to, I don't second guess people. Okay, I picked Ohio State, but being mindful that they was beat up. They limped in there. Quarterback wasn't the same. They missing some linebackers. But on the other hand, what Bama did was crazy. You got a kid out there trying to catch the ball and he just got a certain. Why is he out there? If you're not just thinking, you should be as a head coach. You say, hey, look, don't worry about it. Don't you go out there. You up, your Heisman Trophy winner. Young man had a great job. Ohio State was beat up. They weren't going to catch it. Now you end up with 3 broken fingers. So why, even though, we tend as athletes, we want to say we can do stuff, but in being in a position of authority, you should be have enough thinking enough about this individual. Say, look, we up. Don't worry about it. Now he got a nurse and the kid with the book. And then I like what the young man said, the running back for Bama, and the media tried to make. Yeah, did you realize? I don't know if y'all seen this. You probably have. Did you realize that you were just running through Ohio State defensive line? He said, "What? They was blowing me up in there. What was you watching?" You know what I mean? They were trying to downplay Ohio State like they were so weak. And the guy came out. He said, "What was you watching? They was blowing me up." Did y'all see that interview? He said they were blowing.
No, it doesn't surprise me because most of the people asking the questions shouldn't be on the field asking the questions anyway. But that's
and it was a shame. But you don't kick a person when they're down, and I just mention that because I like that fact that he had class up say it wasn't no cakewalk out there, man. It was hitting me, But we need to stop being comfortable in terms of where we at as far as coaching high school. We give you an opportunity to coach at the next level. Okay, you think you're good, you didn't beat everybody. Let's see how good you is when a Mr. Redman, GM for Washington, coach of the Washington Chiefs or any of the MFL franchise down and say, okay, we'll give you opportunity to coach. Man, let's test now you're playing, you don't have the best players. Because everybody coming here got players with equal talent or better. Mm-hmm. Now what?
You got to see what kind of coach you are, then, right? That's what that. That's what that means. And that's the whole thing. It's like I had great respect for Nick Saban at Alabama at the collegiate level. I don't like the fact that he went to the Dolphins and then after a couple seasons said, "Oh, okay, I'm done. I got to go back." That type of thing. He couldn't handle it. And part of what he said was, I could pick the players I wanted at Alabama. I can't pick the guys I want in the draft. I mean, I have to take the best guy that's available. I can't just take anybody I want. And to that point, that's why Alabama probably could beat some of the NFL franchises, at least this season, in all due respect. But going forward, I mean, it's a machine. That's what they get. If you look at I follow a lot of high school and colleges, so I'll watch state by state and see what Max Preps or whoever 24/7 Sports is putting out there as far as here are the top 10 or 20 guys in this particular state and where they end up going. So it may not be 4 out of the 10 guys are going to they're going to either Clemson or Alabama or whatever, but there's 1 or 2 guys usually that are in there from the state. There was a comment made last week with the Alabama defensive backfield. All those guys came from Florida. So all the Florida schools are getting called out. Like, why are you letting these guys leave? Well, because they all want rings and they, and the chances of getting that in Tallahassee or in Gainesville are, less and less. So it's very competitive. But that's what you're dealing with a coach from a coach's standpoint. That's why, in my opinion, even though Ryan Day is due credit for getting his team to the national championship, Urban Meyer set up a program there, and I'm not giving him the total credit either. But when you have a system in place and you get the right players in to be able to, it becomes this perpetuating thing. Joe Gibbs was great about that. He's in the Hall of Fame, and I tell people he's not in the Hall of Fame because he won 3 Super Bowls. And this guy won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks, none of which will probably ever be in the Hall of Fame, with due respect to including Doug Williams. So that is, he had a system. He got the guys that he wanted. He took undersized linemen. It was phenomenal. He was renowned for switching defensive linemen to offensive linemen. I mean, it was just a thing of beauty to watch him work, and that's a coach. That's a guy that deserves to be in any Hall of Fame that he's in, because he had a system. He was successful through doing that, and that's what makes the difference. So you want to talk about a coach of a certain level or a certain ability, that's what you're looking for.
And that would make Mr. Redman so invaluable, because the fact that he understands the game. And you get a lot of people, they couch potatoes, they talk the game. I'm going to do, you ain't going to do nothing. Because if you could, you would not be sitting on the couch. So everything you understand from a player perspective as well as front office. So he's gonna some of these guys you have to change on, like Jacoby, you're right. He came in as defensive lineman, but Joe Gibbs, you're off at the top, he's 300 some pounds. Can you imagine trying to get around him? So these are the type of things, being a GM have to have an eye for these type of things. You got to get players to understand. We get players that register. He said, I play quarterback, running back, this. I go, wait a minute. Now, put one position down, because that's the only position that you're going to try out for. Which one are you better, offensive, defensive player? And I leave it at that, because once they get to these individual camps, then it's the GM and them going to be out there evaluating these guys. So, we want, and this is for coaches in the area. You get an opportunity that you'll never get again. Now, you can stay with that high school football, which is some of y'all overdo, but you always knew you had a glass ceiling that you couldn't go nowhere else. And none of the universities going to hire you. But given an opportunity where you're playing against the best in the country. You know what I mean? Now you have to match your skills, your coaching, your eye for talent, your coaching ability to come up against a force that equal or better than yours.
Myles, but your point of the league is to stay in the local community. And a lot of high school coaches don't want to uproot their families to go on this long coaching trail that the college level becomes, because you might start out at a smaller school. You might start at Bowling Green, and then you go to Utah, and then you go to a bigger school along the process. And this could be a 15, 20-year journey. And a lot of families, they don't want to put their families through it. But since you're talking local, this is the nice thing about the MFL. Hey, I coach high school in the fall, but the MFL plays not in the fall. So I have an opportunity to still stay in my area, still contribute, coach at a higher level, which then has that, you have that experience, and who knows, then you might say, hey, I really like this. Maybe I will get into college ranks. Maybe I will look at professional ranks, because I have this experience now. It's a totally different thing. So the way the MFL is set up is prime for the top coaching candidates in a certain area.
Absolutely. And we've been saying that for a long time. We don't have a glass ceiling here, but you're going to have to be able to coach, because it's just like in the other business. We want you to show up and show out in terms of your ability. So having, these young men take a look at this, because that's what the purpose of, yes, the Washington Chiefs will win all them championships, but to be honest, if you look at my roster, them guys were coming from Colorado, Florida. Them guys were coming from all over the country. So they did not realize, of course, I would be better than everybody, because I got everybody's best players, and they got here, then we had to get them jobs and stuff. But then my thinking was, why not put franchise in, do this feasibility study and put these franchise where they're needed. You know what I mean? You get a chance to stay home. You watched all these times. I watched him when he was young. I could see the talent that he had. So you look in two ways at it. Man, if he finished college and don't go to the next level, I'm going to talk to him about signing him, as a tailback for the Washington Chiefs. Or if he go to the league and come out, here's your opportunity to coach. More importantly, now we'll take you to the next level, which is the general manager. Now you understanding both sides of the coin. You understanding the business part of it, because a lot of people understand it's a hell of a job, being a GM. it takes a lot of knowledge on what you're doing in terms of business. Now, the coaching is all about business there too, but you get some good coaches, man, and you put together a good man. That's what a GM is. He put together a good program, and that's one thing about these GMs here. They putting together down in Tennessee, the university down there said we got a lot of players that want intern coaching job. Dr. Myles, they call us. They realize that my football date is over. Then I know I'm not gonna go to the next level play, but let me do something I want to do. And as y'all know, the best coaches was never the best players on the team. You know what I mean? They end up being great coaches. You know,
I'm never even played. Yeah.
Well, you know, and then to that point about the administration part, that's the same way when it comes down to a player, because as we've seen this season specifically, there have been so many injuries player-wise in the NFL. It makes your head spin more so than anyone I can remember in recent memory. And having covered the league for about a dozen years, I don't ever recall seeing that. But what happens is they're looking for the teams then look for players anywhere. If you look at Taylor Heineke, who ended up being the starting quarterback for the Washington football team in the playoffs, he was not even in football. But what it is these guys have to be football ready. And that's where the MFL really comes in as well, because all I hear about even the top guys in the NFL, they have this stringent workout that they don't know. And I think back to Owens and different guys that weren't playing for a team and then got the call and they weren't ready to come back because they weren't getting their reps in. They weren't game ready, and it puts everybody behind that way. So opportunity for these players to understand, hey, I may not have made it to that next level at this point, but if I'm still playing football and I'm still developing and getting my reps in it, and a lot of players, as you guys know, develop later in life. So you never know when you're to the top of where you should be. And this opportunity presents itself because, hey, I'm playing for a team in the MFL, and then when that call comes, I'm ready for the other league. So all those things kind of get missed in the transition as well.
And we always have their paperwork and everything available. I remember when Ray Lewis got hurt with the Ravens, a lot of people don't realize we got the call from the Ravens and they asked us, they said, we had a guy up there, his name was Tim Johnson. He was All-American for Wake Forest. You check that name out and stuff. He didn't go in the draft because he had broke his ankle, but they knew where he was. And they called, they said, Tim Johnson, you have any information, we get in contact with him, which we called him and broke our neck and everything, tried to call him, but he went back to down in Virginia, somewhere we were from. But they called him, they called us, and, can you give us the information? I was so mad when I didn't know what to do because his phone had changed numbers and they moved back. So right today, if he watching this broadcast, he'll tell you that we could not get in contact with him. And I'm like, wow. So right now, he moved back up to the area. We got him a great job in government. He had his degree and stuff. But you talking about a bad boy played the Mike linebacker, wasn't up with the true All-American. And they knew about it and they knew where he was. You know what I mean? So you're right. You will never know when you get that call. But you have to be somewhere. See, as you know, in the National Football League, you can't come ready. You got to be ready. You know what I mean? You got to be ready. And when the Redskins would invite the Washington Chiefs players for the private workout, we went over there sometime. Some of the guys, I even got on our president, Mr. Bobby Wilson, because some of the guys wasn't in shape. And I said, man, you shouldn't. I said, I appreciate it, but you shouldn't have took them over there. And some of the guys was, they just didn't continue to work out because the season, but he got him that workout over there. And for hats off for the Washington team because they did that. But we did have that rapport with the Washington team at that time because a lot of the players, former players, was over here on the Washington Chiefs coaching staff. We had that connection. So given the opportunity to coach here, and I think Mr. Redman, we will get some more out of him right now. I mean, you're going to get calls, and the great thing about being from the area, you're going to have people going to come to your aid. It's just simple as that. They're going to come to your aid, but you're going to have to determine, who you want to deal with and who you don't want to deal with. Because, like I say, you're going to get a lot of people think that they're going to get an opportunity or job because they know you. You're not at home staying, I know you, And I'm not telling you, but you want to take the people that going to do a great job and understand, because these kids, and I say kids, and I mean to say that, but these young men, they coming out in these Division I schools, and if you don't know what you're doing, they're going to know it.
Oh,
they're
yes.
going to know it. So that's what's so important, Mr. Redman. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've been talking about that a lot, and I surround myself with coaches I've been knowing for years, and I've been looking at them when I was away and come back home and where they are and their mentality. I have one that I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get, and he's a mind coach. He's great at scouting talent. He's great at observing his atmosphere, and halftime know how to make those changes. And them the type of coaches I want to. And a lot of the guys that he's coached are playing in the NFL now. So I know what I'm looking for.
Exactly, because you have to have a plan. Now, obviously, if you get into the MFL and don't have a plan, you have Myles, who's a phone call away, who will give you the plan and let you know.
And I will call him too.
But the thing about I like about it, and this is part of the longevity, is you have some leeway. You have an opportunity to bring your experience, bring your ideas, bring your dynamic to a league that is not developmental, but is developmental in the sense of you're developing people, and you are developing teams, and you are developing rapport and relationships and such.
Absolutely. And then they also know about, kids do look people up and everything. They don't have to do that with him because everybody know who he is. They know where he's been and stuff. And I remember the days where we used to have a big old board up there in my office. We used to write guys' names down and say, we're going to go after this guy. Nah, man, I don't go after him. But, as a lot of part of my coaching with the Washington Chiefs, and like with Bobby Wilson came aboard, he said, hey, I'm coming. He brought all these people with him, Ricky Irvin, Clarence Vaughn, all that. He brought all these other guys with him and say, hey, let's get. And even they used to tickle me because when we was throwing the ball, they could. And I'm the head coach. I stay away from everybody. I just stand all the way up to the side, And each one of them would walk by me and say, "Why are we running the ball all the way up? Why we pass the ball all the way up? Just tell me that." So I wouldn't answer them. I act like I attention, because they were always constant. And we had some great players out there. Ricky Irvin, all of them, and Mohammed. He was out. He was fast. I don't know what, but they wanted to throw the ball, and the other coaches, they wanted to run it. So we had some good. But I just used to stand back because they used to tickle me, man. They be, but they wouldn't say nothing to each other, but they come and say it to me. So go say something to them, man. Go say something to them. But the great thing about it, these was guys that was totally committed. These guys were millionaires. They had to be out there, but they liked the fact that they was doing something that they've been a part of since they was young. Okay, they've been to that next level. They didn't won them Super Bowls and stuff, but they liked the talent and the kids that these young people that we had, and the young people, responded to them. You know what I mean? So it was exciting, and it had an opportunity for these guys to say, hey, look, I used to tell them all when we went to West Virginia and play. I used to tell them, say, y'all wear your Super Bowl rings, man. We're going there. So the official would be so busy wanting to take pictures with them and look at the ring. I thought, we're going to work these people, right? And, it was just amazing to see. That's all the officials were talking about, oh, yeah, can I get your autograph? I'm like, man. But that was something I used to do all the time. And, and when we came to town, it was more like, not just a great game, but you had professional players coaching. And I remember, as y'all remember, Mark Mosley had his team down in Virginia, and he talked Bobby and us playing the exhibition game because I wasn't going to play him because Mark was still kicking for the team. So we was, in the warm-up and stuff, and he was kicking 80-yard field goals, man. I'm like, wow, it's going in. So Bobby said, yeah, you just want to, so the game was tight. So they had the ball last, and he's going to come out and win the game for him. But as you know, we blocked it because, Mark, we blocked it, took the ball and ran it back. It was so funny, man. He was so mad, but he did kind of get us when we got there. I said, can you tell us where we can go eat, where we're not bothered by a lot of people so the guys can eat so we can go? Why Mark he told every driver down in Mount Moses where we was coming to eat there. Everybody down there trying to get all the guy, man. I said, we got to get the guys eating food they shouldn't be eating. You know what I mean, Redman? They go on the toilet in there. I'm cussing. You know what I mean? And Bobby, so I told him, I said, man, that was messing. He started laughing. I said, why you tell people what we was? He started laughing and walked away, But it was funny and, so, I enjoy those times. But, me, I'm about winning. And I don't care if I'm playing marbles, I want to win. So I know this it's a big job, and I don't feel it's too big for Mr. Redman. But it will help us in terms of mobilizing a lot of coaches that were probably interested but didn't want to. They were safe what it was. Now they're around his age, a little older now. They said, well, this is our excuse. We're going to help Redman. You have to think like that. We got to go help him. And I know he needs some coaches. So and it's good in a way, because like I say, people know you, don't know me, and people know me, don't know you. So that's the great thing about it, man. Sometimes, as when people don't understand certain things, they have a tendency to be afraid of it because they don't understand it, and from what they heard about that other stuff with the people fighting at the games and got a handful of people out there that little saying that stuff. That's not what this is. And now that everybody really had an opportunity to take a look at this, they were like, wow, we got guys want to come from other parts. Okay, what's the closest franchise, Dr. Myles? And we willing to come, So that's when you're doing something great, Keith.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Bobby Wilson. He's still one of my all-time favorite players, and what a great guy he is. And you brought back a lot of memories for me when you started talking about Irvin and some of those other guys. But
when we start to see, you'll see him. Bobby always, and didn't mean to cut you out. Bobby's the president of the organization right now.
Oh yeah.
When he comes down, boy, he gonna have you laughing, man.
No, he was, but he's always a business-like mind, and I always appreciated that too. Great interview, but a great person, and we had some. We used to do a radio talk show and some different things that I had him involved with. He was obviously always made himself available for my TV show and for interviews and stuff. So I always appreciate that and that kind of rapport. But there are players who have played that have always thought about getting into coaching, and this also presents a different level when you talk about that. When you can talk about the guys who played at either a top collegiate level or in the pros, and some of those guys, because I think Chris Samuels, who who played for offensive line for the Redskins, and he's been coaching high school football in Maryland, or had been. Obviously the COVID shut down now, but Chris has been doing that. So there are guys that stay in the area, and DC is just a great area. That's one of the reasons I still live in the DC area. Born and raised Washingtonian, very proud of it. But guys come and play for the Washington franchise in the NFL, and they love the area. They stay here. They raise their families, and they never leave. So that they look for coaching opportunities like Chris did, and Chris has done pretty well for the high school that he's been coaching the last few years. And other guys have that mindset as well, whether they aspire to get to the next level, to the collegiate level, because Chris obviously played in a big time collegiate program, or whether they aspire to get to the pros, eventually to the pros. High school is where you end up because there aren't a lot of other opportunities to get you notched up, if you will. But I think you'll also find, and Myles, I'm sure you have seen over the years, and Mr. Redman will, where there are guys that have just retired or thinking down the road about coaching, getting into that, where you have that opportunity as well, which is a different wealth of knowledge. Guys that have played, again, not just because you played, can you coach,
Right.
but there's something to it. You could be a position coach, or you could help with technique. There are a lot of opportunities, and again, I commend the MFL for being available for these guys to have that opportunity.
Absolutely. And I know Chris Samuel personally, and I talked to him a couple of times at fight night and stuff. You know, I used to have fight night down at the Hilton and stuff. And I talked with him, and it's so ironic that you said it, because I used to always go down Redskins Park and I get in it with all of them. And that's how I met Bobby. He said, "Why you always fussing with people, Myles? Won't you sell?" I said, "Oh, man, go ahead, man." He said, "I tell you what, I'm getting ready to have surgery. If I don't play, I promise you, I'm coming with you." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, right." And I'm practicing one night right there at Banneker. Redmond over Banneker, every day on Georgia Avenue. We practiced there. And all these little guys on the field, about 8 or 9 of them. So the guys walked up, and guys don't know who they are. They're like, and you know how Bobby is. "What that dude Myles at, man? What that guy, man?" So the guys look like, "What you want to know for?" So I'm like, "What y'all stop practice for?" Then he said, "What that dude Myles at?" So I walked off the field. I'm like, "Who is it?" He said, "Me, Bob, man." I said, "Oh, man, go ahead." He said, "Yeah, you thought I wasn't coming, And he kept his word. That's one thing I always respected about Bobby. And Bobby always kept his word. He said, "I'm with you, man." Really nice guy. Wrote a check, threw it up on my desk. He said, "Hey, here you go." He said, "I'm going to get all this stuff." And he's been with me ever since, man. So the great thing about him, he kept his word. And I like people about that. And like I always say, if you ain't do nothing, say you ain't gonna do it. I don't believe in that. I'm gonna. And you rub me the wrong way when you do that. Don't promise me nothing. You know what I mean? One thing about me, if I tell you something, you can take it to the bank. Everybody know that. You might not like me, but just respect what I'm doing. I ain't gotta like you, but I'm gonna respect what you're doing, and everybody know that. That one thing about me, I'm that same way. Mr. Redman, you want to go ahead? You want to take it?
Now, I was just going back what Keith said about coaching at different levels. When I was in Arizona, I played against Ron Rivera and Jack Doria. I played at great linebackers. So I understand. I never wanted to be a coach on that level. But then when I got home and I, kept seeing them out there, I was like, wow, I played against these guys. Why can't I do it? So I just, I've been doing a lot of coaching all my life and reading a lot of books and, how to be coaches, managers, and stuff like that. And it's amazing to me how that correlates to what you were saying earlier.
Absolutely. And, you never know where I tell people every morning, I call a lot of people. They say, "Oh, that's that chaplain in you." And I always say, God's in charge, because things going to happen when you least expect them. They happen. You know what I mean? And like right now, you did all these great things, then you retire, but that ain't in you. We too much, we could not just sit around.
Can't do it.
Ain't in our DNA. We got to be doing something in terms of being a part of it, and it fits you like a glove. You know what I mean? And when you think about it and think about all the people live you're going to touch, now you've been getting calls, not like you're going to get calls, Now, watch this show all the time. You listen to the morning show. Like I said, we're going to get you on a lot of stuff, and people are going to be calling. "Man, you ain't tell me." This is the first thing I'm going to tell you. "Oh, you ain't tell me." Because we ain't getting ready to do the press release. We haven't done it yet. We're going to do it. And people say, "Wow, why you ain't tell me? Who are you? Why should I tell you?" But don't get this tickle you keep when people say that to you.
Yeah. They always seem surprised, and it's like, wait a second, have you not been following anything that I've been doing throughout my career? Did you not know I was an All-American over here? Did you not know that I played at this level? Did you not know personally that I was a broadcaster for more than 2 decades and have covered a lot of sports and actually know how to interview asks questions and just talk in general. So, it does like, wow, really good. I know it just it surprised me too.
It's amazing, though. It's amazing. Like me and Doc was talking the other day, and he never know that I got drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates. He never knew that about me. So I was like, that was amazing to me because I know he follows me a lot, but he never knew that. It's amazing what people don't know about you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when I always say out of sight, out of mind, when you're out of certain, if you're not out there like where everybody knows what's going on, they tend to forget, So, that's what the MFL is about. We want you to understand that this is the laboratory of change. We're going to find you. And like I say to all the schools, we see you, we hear you. And I always say to Nick, said the cap, I tell them, it's not the Negro Leagues. Don't get that twisted. This is a minor professional football league that we giving players an opportunity that you don't find outside of college or professional football. It's very important that these young people understand this and don't get down on yourself because you didn't get drafted. Come on, really?
That's right.
Man, because you could have scored 20 touchdowns. That's not where they're looking at. But I'm glad now that people finally understand the fact that, come on, man, you got all these rings, but nobody never knew you was on the team. They looked in the program book, and depending on what one you look at, they see the roster. You know what I mean? You got the ring, and you see a guy say, you say, who you play for? I play for. What's your name? Man, I don't remember you or you. But he did play, but he didn't see the field unless he ran on there to practice and stuff. That's it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now you get an opportunity to go somewhere and you can play all 4 years. Now you can actually see what you can do, or as I say, are you a pretender or a contender? Because now you used to take guys, when we used to have our combines, I said, look, if you're an imposter, I'm going to know it. You know what I mean? I'm going to know it. Because one thing about football, you cannot hide. You're going to get hit out there. And there ain't nowhere you can hide in football. And then you're magnified 1,000 times. Everybody, So, it's sad that guys are afraid to be, when you get them out their comfort area, But we want everybody to know we have opportunities here for you guys. Young ladies and stuff, and all the things that the MFL is doing. And we want to invite you. You can always check us out on the MFL. See our website. We're on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, where you can find the MFL. We are currently registering players for the 2021 season. How can they get in contact with you, Keith?
Oh, well, I'm on Instagram at Keith Jones 2345. That's because I am the one. But it's that's the main way, I guess. But obviously, I'll be continuing to contribute to this show and other things that Myles has up his sleeve because very intriguing and just a great story and a great opportunity for them. I can't stress that enough for the people. Even somebody played in college and they want to get in. They go back to work for their college as an alum. I mean, the athletic director of a University of Maryland makes $700,000 a year. So you can learn how to administrate and get jobs too at different levels. Doesn't always have to be at the pro level, but that's I just enjoy getting invited to come on, Myles. I appreciate it, and obviously congratulations to you, Mr. Redman. You've got a lot ahead of you, but obviously with your prowess and such, I think you'll do fine.
Thank you very much.
The guy you're welcome. You got the guy on the other side of the screen that is going to be shadowing. We just expect that that's going to exactly be on your shoulder. You're right. That's more accurate. So, but that's it. But
and Mr. Redman, introduce yourself to MFL Nation again, and you will be having all your information how they can contact you. But right now, if you have another rate right now, but by tomorrow and next day you will have your stuff all up, where they can go to your go to the page, Washington Chiefs Facebook page at the MFL, and all your information to be there. But until that, once you get them some information about you and how they want to reach you,
Okay, great. Wherever you want to reach me, MFL.com right now. You can reach me there. You can text or Facebook. No, you could text the Chiefs. And like he said, starting tomorrow, I should have all my information that you'll be able to reach me. So, reach me at Washington Chiefs right now. And if any coaches out there, it'll be a way to contact me. Anybody that want to do some internships, call me. Call the Washington Chiefs. So we're going to have, spots for you. And definitely mentoring men is hard to do, but it's needed. So we're going to mentor these guys, not just football, through life, through football.
Absolutely. I want to thank you, Keith. I want to thank you, Mr. Redman, for joining us today. And you've been watching another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Dr. Richard Myles. I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Let's go win.